Schatzi had a rough start in life. We actually have no idea how she came to be running on a main road one morning, just as my husband had set out for his 6 a.m. walk. He saw what he describes as this tiny rat that seemed lost but was brave enough to be following strangers in the hope of help, despite all kinds of dangers on the road. Not hesitating, he scooped her up and headed back home. And it was love at first sight for both of us. As we held her, observed her, comforted her, we noticed that she was covered in fleas of various sizes and colors. She seemed so hungry, and she had this really round and large belly despite seeming quite malnourished. Just a lot going on for such a tiny little thing. Her fur was pretty dirty as well, and she was cold and seemed really exhausted and actually just fell asleep in the warmth of our hands as we held her. She weighed only 600 grams, and despite having all her teeth, she was so tiny. And a curious thing we noticed was that she never cried for her mother or her siblings. I think she somehow immediately imprinted on us, and we just became this instant family. And this was the first time we had ever done something like this. First of all, rescuing a dog, then interacting with a street dog. Because all along we'd only ever had breed dogs. And this was a sick dog, and also very vulnerable and so tiny. All kinds of firsts. And all we could do was rely on our vet and other experienced rescuers to help us with this little girl. And Schatzi never let go of her zest for life and jumped right into the fight with us through all kinds of health challenges as we began loving her and taking care of her. She just became our baby, and we spent the next months doing what every parent does to help their child thrive. We had sleepless nights, odd feeding hours, multiple doctor visits, really the whole deal. We just made up our minds that she was going to win and life's scars would be healed. And so we battled tapeworms, mange mites, malnutrition, and the long road to get her weight up so she could be vaccinated and treated for them all. Despite being exhausted trying to balance our lives, our work life, and this tiny puppy that needed special care, we just managed to find the strength to keep going. I think God wanted us to find each other. Soon, Schatzi gained weight steadily, and she lost all her fur, gained a new coat of fur, and her intelligence shone through, and she turned into this really adorable chunk of joy that everybody loved. She enjoys digging, car rides, and playing with her brother, and of course, sleeping, like every dog does. She's this perfect little doggy, and she's changed our lives and brought perspective on what being a dog lover really means. She's challenged our unconscious biases and stereotypes on things like breed, gender. I think our lives would be very boring without her feisty, animated, but very loving presence. And she's our little treasure.